Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. This is Brian from Coastal Sports Cards coming back at you with another card from my personal collection. And man, we got a really good one today. 1933 Goudey Babe Ruth, number 144, PSA 4. Just amazing card. This one's in his batting stance. You guys that know a lot about cards probably know that there's 4 different versions of Babe Ruths from this set. This is the only one in his batting stance, which is why I picked this one. It's got a cool follow through, pinstripes, just a iconic card. I picked this one up back in 2010, so 12 years ago, and was lucky enough to purchase it for about, I think it was $2,600. So a really good investment when you look at the fact that today it's probably worth about $21,000. The centering's really good. The corners aren't too bad for a 4. There's no creases. The focus is really good. These come with different levels of focus. There's actually 2. They've noted 2 different variations. One being very focused and one being somewhat out of focus. This one you can see definitely has a good focus to it. So excited to bring this to you guys today. Going to go on with a little bit more information about the card that you guys might be interested in. Did a little bit of research this morning. Took the day off from work just so I could bring you guys this video. So we're just going to go over the number 144. Like I said, there's 3 other cards. This one was double printed, but they have found that there's actually less or just about the same number of these out there when you look at the population reports. So yes, there are more made, but through time, this one survived at about the same rate as the rest of them with the same number left. So total grade, you're looking at about 1,500, something like that are left, graded by PSA. There's another 500 or 600 out there that are graded by Beckett and SGC. So about 2,000 cards that remain today, which is pretty cool when you think about it. That's not a lot when you figure there's 300 million people in the country. So authentic, there's 102, and then PSA 1s, there's about 350, 1.5s, there's about 70, 2s, there's about 275, 300 or so, 3s, there's about 250, 4s, which I have here, there's about 200, 5s, there's only 115, 6s, it starts getting even lower, there's only about 75, 7s, there's only 49, and 8s, it gets really low, there's only 35 8s in the world, and then 9s, there's only 4. Some of those numbers that I mentioned include qualifiers too, so as you guys probably, some of you know, a qualifier for a collector bumps it down a couple of grades. So qualifiers can be, stains, marks, centering, focus, print dots. So some of those that I was mentioning in the pop reports includes qualifiers. So whatever you want to say, it's an iconic card, a very rare card. It's in a great investment. You can see, like I say, I spent $2,600 12 years ago, and it's worth about $18,000 more than I paid. When you look at values, so looking at vintagecardprices.com is the website that I'm using. You have to subscribe to it, but it gives you all the values in PSA, SGC, BVG. So authentic, the average right now is $4,500. A 1 is $6,500. A 1.5 is $8,200. A 2 is $9,700. 2.5 is $13,800. A 3 is about $16,000. A 3.5 is $19,000. A 4 is $21,000, with the highest at $24,850 and the lowest at $18,125. So, I would put mine on the high end of that realm. Maybe not the highest, but up there. 4.5 is $32,000. A 5 is $33,000. 5.5, 66. 6 is 46. 6.5 is 31. So with those half grades, you hear those numbers are off a little bit, and that's just driven by there's not half grades started, I think, in 2008. So there's not as many half grades out there, plus just the nature of it, they don't give out a lot of half grades. So that's why it skews the numbers there a little bit. And then you get into the big boys. The 7s are about 100,000. The 8s are around 410. And then there is a sale on a 9. It occurred in 2019 for 528,000. But it's funny, this goes all the way back to 2004, where the 9s were selling for about 70,000. So just incredible investment right there that those guys made that purchased them back in 04. To go on the Ruth card and Babe Ruth himself, like I said, there is a subtle difference in the focus on these. There's 2 versions of the number 144 card, which I found was pretty interesting. I actually didn't know that until I did some reading today. And just to go on about Ruth a little bit, he was born in 1895, died in 1948. So he lived a pretty short life. You guys know he lived a pretty crazy lifestyle. A lot of drinking, staying up late, partying. But he definitely enjoyed his life. Arguably one of the greatest players of all time. And what's really interesting about him is he was a bad child, and he was sent off to reformatory school. St. Mary's Industrial School is what it was called. He abandoned his trade as a shirt maker to play baseball. It was a pretty good decision he made there. And nobody really knows exactly what it was that got him to gravitate towards the game. He was a really good catcher. He also played infield. But there was a guy at the reformatory school, Brother Matthias, is the one that really inspired him to continue to play baseball and was the one that developed him into a really good pitcher. So he started pitching for St. Mary's, and then he started being used all around the town of Baltimore until the Baltimore Orioles owner, Jack Dunn, they signed him to a contract in 1914. And in 1915, he went 18-8. So you figure he was born in 1895, so he was 19 years old, and he went 18-8 as a third starter. So then, as he continued his career in 1916, he went 23-12, and then 24-13 in 1917. And he was also starting to develop his hitting as well at that time. So by 1916, he had a 1.75 ERA with 9 shutouts, and he batted .325 the following year in 1917. So then in 1919, everybody's heard about the big purchase where the Yankees purchased him from the Red Sox for there's 100,000, 125,000, and I'm not exactly sure. The back of this card actually says 125,000, where some of the articles I read say, you can see it says 125,000 right there, say 100,000. But anyways, that's where the curse of the Bambino started, where the Red Sox, once they had won the World Series, and once they sold Ruth, they didn't win another World Series until 2004, which I'm sure a lot of you guys remember. But that curse lasted a long time. So once Ruth went to the Yankees, his first season with the Yankees, he hit 54 home runs, setting an MLB record. And you got to realize, in these times, 10 home runs was a lot for a season. And some of those were inside the park home runs. He was just a completely different player than anybody else in the major leagues. So he set that record, and then from 1920 to 1931, he hit 10. He led the league in home runs 10 out of 12 years. In 1927, he hit 60 home runs, which that record lasted until 1961 when Maris broke it. His slugging numbers were outlandish. He averaged .736 slugging for 12 years. He led the AL in slugging percentage 13 times, led the American League in home runs 12 times, 11 times in walks, 10 times in on-base percentage, 8 times in runs scored, and 6 times in RBI and total bases. So, I mean, unlike anything that we see today, his numbers were just insane. If you compare him to his peers, he was better than anybody that we've seen. Even, Pujols, Trout, Griffey, it doesn't matter who you talk about. If you compare him to the guys he was playing against, he was just way, way better. So his overindulgences and excessive lifestyle that he had off the field definitely were overshadowed by his his performance on the field. He transformed the game. So this, like I said, was a game of small ball, a lot of triples, inside the park home runs, to somebody that just blasted the ball over the fence, and what they call the live ball game. So he kind of transformed from the dead ball era to the live ball era. 714 home runs in his career. And not only was he a home run threat, but he also had a really good batting average. He hit 342 for his career. And as a pitcher, 94 and 46 with 488 strikeouts, 17 shutouts, a 2.28 ERA, and 147 starts and 163 games pitched. So that's just insane. 342 average, 714 home runs, 94 and 46 with 488 strikeouts. I know everybody's looking at Ohtani thinking he's the next Babe Ruth, but he's not hitting 342. He doesn't have a winning percentage like 94 and 46, and I don't know if he's going to hit 714 home runs or not. It is really cool that what Ohtani's doing, though, but again, these numbers are insane. So Ruth was also elected to the Hall of Fame, as everybody figures. But not only was he elected to the Hall of Fame, he was one of the first 5, which I think was Cobb, Mathewson, Ruth, Walter Johnson, and I think there was one more, maybe Eddie Collins, was the inaugural 5 elected to the Hall of Fame in 1936. So I could go on and on about Babe Ruth. Definitely one of my favorite players, an iconic player in the sport, and this is definitely one of my favorite cards. So appreciate you guys tuning in and checking this card out. We'll bring you some more over the next few weeks. Just as a quick advertisement for our store, we are Coastal Sports Cards, and we are always buying. We're at 411 Broadway Street in Myrtle Beach. Our email is coastalsportscards@yahoo.com. There's our phone number, 843-446-5991. We have a new and improved website at coastalsportscards.com, so please check it out. A lot of cool products on there. We specialize in a product called Absolute Fire, so check that out. You can check out our eBay at Coastal Sports Cards 1, Facebook, Coastal Sports Cards, and then Instagram, Coastal Sports Cards 1. And then we also sell on Whatnot, is a new selling platform that we stream on pretty much every day. So check out, if you're on the Whatnot app, check it out, Coastal Sports Cards. If you're not on the Whatnot app, download the Whatnot app, sign up for an account. It's really cool. There's all kinds of cool stuff on there. So that's all I've got for today. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy the college football that we got starting this weekend, and enjoy the long Labor Day weekend. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.